and it's a constant every week battle in this business.
Damn right.
Now, here's the cool thing. Can you do it?
Yep.
Yes, because you're all badasses, right? Right? Who's a badass? Right, exactly. Now, what is resistance? Resistance is that sneaky little voice in your head that says that tomorrow is as good as today. Is tomorrow as good as today?
No.
No. When do we want results?
Yeah.
We want them now, right? So tomorrow's not as good as today. But resistance is that sneaky little voice. And let me tell you, resistance is insidious. Resistance is sneaky. Resistance is, picture resistance as this evil character with the long, twirly mustache and the cape. He's evil. And you got to watch out for him because he can appear in a variety of different ways, right? He actually can show up in my mind sometimes as the voice of parents or family or friends. Or the what ifs. I did a workshop. Who's in my workshop yesterday? Right on, thank you. And we talked, somebody made the comment, what's one of the fears that keep you from shooting a video? What's one of the fears that keeps you from writing a powerful blog or an email? And one of the great answers that we got was a fear of comparison. A fear that someone else will be as critical of me as I am. That's the enemy. And resistance is insidious. It is nasty. Resistance will whisper to you with a smile and say, tomorrow's as good as today. Don't worry about running that ad today. Go do something else, right? Or resistance is also that forceful thing the criminal that'll stick a gun in the face of your mindset and say, who are you to think you can do this?
Yep.
And I'm telling you that all of the rewards lay on the other side of making sure that resistance never ever wins. Never ever wins. Right on. Resistance is a double-crossing piece of crap that will stick a knife in your back every single time. You cannot trust that little voice, okay? Now, why do I say this? I'm telling you, this isn't exactly a nice, warm, fluffy, frothy conversation on a Sunday morning, is it? It's not, but here's the thing. We're all getting ready to go to the house. And how many people again have made powerful decisions this weekend? We've got like some really big, fat, juicy goals. So, forewarned is forearmed. When you get to the house, I run an ad every week that bombs. Did you guys know that, by the way? There's this mythical idea that the people in this, the leaders in the company, have a business like we've arrived at some level at which all of a sudden everything is just sunshine, roses, and it's rivers of sugar, and it's just mountains of red licorice candy, And it's not. I run an ad every week that bombs. Every week. It's part of just being a marketer. It's part of being someone who's on the way somewhere, who's going to try to achieve something. So here's the cool thing. Now, I don't want to leave you hanging there because it sounds like I've equipped you for battle, which I have in a way. Now here's the cool thing. There is a force out there that's the opposite of resistance. And if anybody here's ever read the book by Paulo Coelho called The Alchemist.
Classic.
There's a wonderful quote in that book that says something to the effect of, when people make powerful decisions, the entire universe conspires to make it happen. You've heard of people in a downward spiral of failure? Right? There is an upward spiral of success that moves just as quickly. And the opposite of resistance is assistance. It's the things that you can never plan and predict, that once you start moving with purpose and intention in your life to go and get what you deserve, that suddenly all these things start lining up in your life to help you achieve it much, much, much more quicker than you thought possible. Is that exciting? Yeah. Is that exciting? Yeah. Whose day is it?
Mine.
Whose year is this?
Mine.
I wish I could tell you guys that my story has been free of resistance. I would love to be able to say, hey, you find that little mindset switch and you flip that little mindset switch and all of a sudden everything's easy. But I had some resistance when I came here. And I'm not a superhero. I'm one of the laziest human beings you will ever meet. I am legendary. I am legendary at my laziness. Really? I mean, like, you guys think I'm being like, no, that's not stage modesty. That I really can be one of the laziest people you'll ever meet. I'm not proud of that, but our commitment is to be authentic with you guys. I'm not up at 6 a.m. and then up at midnight. I slept till like, I'm not gonna tell you how late I slept yesterday. So I'm not scared of a pillow. I just, you know, I'm not saying that to be false modesty, but I'm just saying I encountered a lot of that kind of resistance when I got started here. Some of you guys know my story, but we saw a lot of hands go up for first timers at our events. I'll give you just a brief version. When Jessica and my wife's name's Jessica. How many people have met Jessica this weekend? She's awesome. She got a pretty read yesterday too. Jessica's awesome. Jessica and I have been in the home business industry for quite a while. And we love this industry. We love what it does for people. I love being a part of something that's bigger than me. I love being a part of something that gives kids their moms and dads back. When moms and dads get to come home from work, where people at 65 years old, they don't have to, take a job down at Walmart, handing out shopping cart. That's what we do. And, oh, by the way, have y'all got that? By the way, that we're not really a blog company.
Right.
You guys kind of grasped that this weekend, that this is a leadership factory disguised as a business opportunity. Do y'all get that?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually about transformation.
Yes.
And when Jessica and I came here, we were broke. I didn't come here with a big list. I didn't have a list. I was relatively new to internet marketing. I'd been good at beating the phone and calling prospects and doing three-way calls and all that stuff. But Jessica and I didn't know much of anything about internet marketing. And I was so burned out on being on the phone. I was with this company. This was December of 2011. And I was with this company and I hit this wall. I could not pick up the phone again. Because I hated it so much. My personal integrity would not let me enroll somebody else into the business that I was not enjoying. I couldn't stand the idea of actually getting somebody to pay me to get into a business that I despise working every day. And so in the summer of 2011, I just hit this wall where I physically could not do it anymore. I could not dial the phone and call another prospect. And so for the summer of 2011, I did nothing. And we'd made a lot of money in this industry by then. But when you decide to suddenly halt the brakes on your business and do nothing while you still maintain the same lifestyle, the savings account starts, it's like, it's just like, I read books all summer. I would get up, we homeschool our kids. I would get up in the morning and Jessica was already in a homeschool and we're doing that. We'd go to lunch as a family. I'd come home, grab a book off the shelf, stretch out across the bed and do nothing but read every day for weeks. And Jessica was concerned. She thought I was depressed. Not depressed like sad, but just apathetic. Like what's going on? Is he okay? Is he, like the red light is starting to flash in our bank account, right? It's like we're starting to get a little bit behind on a couple of things. And here's the thing, the distaste for taking that kind of action nearly crashed us. We were down to, I don't know if I've ever told this or not, we were literally, September, my birthday, 2011, we took our spare change out of the house down to that Coinstar machine at the grocery store, and we had $60 worth of change, which was enough to buy some sandwich meat and a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk, whatever. Could not afford to go out to eat, And our kids didn't know. And kids are great, aren't they?
Yeah.
Kids are awesome. They just love you regardless. But I was feeling all the pressure of my kids, like expecting that, hey Dad, check out this Star Wars story. And knowing that, saying, hey, that's cool, buddy. That's a cool toy, but maybe Santa Claus will bring that for you for Christmas. And the truth was, I didn't have $7.95 in my pocket to say yes. I got tired of being the dad that had to say no all the time. I got tired of being the dad who was constantly saying, we can't do that right now. And 8 days after this company started, who knows why wonderful things happen sometimes. This came across my desk and I got started. And I was telling Jessica about it, and she's like, how is a $25 business going to solve our problem? I said, I don't know. I just think if I can learn something, I didn't actually come here for the money. I came here for the education. I remember that David Wood had been in a company one time. I was leading the company as he was joining. And David enrolled something like 200 something people in 1 month and never picked up the telephone. And I remembered that when I saw that this company was being started by David Wood and David Sharp. I was like, that's that guy. I got to get around that. I got to find out what's he doing. What's he doing that I don't know how to do, right? And so I joined for $25. I did the $100 inner circle. I did not do the Costa Rica. Couldn't afford it. I thought I could afford it. And so about 4 weeks later, Jessica's sitting at the computer in front of the Wells Fargo bank, the online banking thing. Is that an apple? I'm sorry, are you getting an apple? Did you bring enough for the whole class? I'm just teasing you. Everybody gets one molecule for apple. I'm just teasing you. But Jessica sat there at the computer and she's like, what are all these, this is back when we could use a merchant account. What are these little $200 deposits every day? I was like, what? And I knew the money was coming in, but suddenly it was real. And she's like, yeah, there's like $225 one day, and $325 one day, and then $250 one day, and had like a $400 day, and then had like a $75 day, and I'm like, that's that thing! That's that Empower Network scheming thing that I joined on the internet. That's that thing. I thought this was like a clickbait deal that would be gone in like 2 weeks. I really came here thinking I might could make a couple $1,000, but I would learn something. And when I saw the bank account, I was staggered. And Jessica's like, and nothing's sort of real to me until Jessica says it out loud. So she's like, she looks at me, we're in the kitchen, she looks at me and she says, wait a minute, we're making $300 a day on average, and you're not having to call anybody? And the first thing that hit my brain was, oh my God, I'm making $300 a day and I don't have to call anybody. Yeah. That's looking, I don't know if it's looking worse or better. And I never see it except at events. And nobody will tell you. So anyway, so 2 months into the business, we got a few $100 a day coming in. And now I'm thinking, oh, this is awesome. Easy Street. Easy Street now. We've got the code cracked. And then we paid for Christmas. December 2011, every bit of Christmas was paid for by Empower Network. Woo! Isn't that great? Like literally 3 months after I couldn't say yes in a toy store, we had this wonderful, amazing, and I know Christmas is not about gifts, but it is a time when parents, if you have kids, you like to be able to express your love for your kids by getting them a couple things they want. And they had a wonderful Christmas. And then adversity. Then the villain showed up. And my mom had been sick for off and on for a couple of years, and nobody knew what was wrong with her. And she passed away January the 5th of 2012. Literally 2 months after we joined. And anybody here ever lost a parent? Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Yep. It's almost, I don't know if anybody's ever lost a parent and wasn't immediately slapped in the face with every single regret that you've ever had about every fight you had with your parents, or why didn't I call them more often or visit more often if you're an adult. And it's a tough thing. And I'd already lost my dad. And so my mom was in North Carolina when she passed away. And so because of this business, I was able to drop everything. Didn't have to ask off anybody for work. And Jessica and me and the kids went to North Carolina, and I have one sister, I have one remaining immediate family member left. So the cool thing about this business was that it kept moving. I literally would show up maybe once a week to just copy some email from David Wood or David Sharp and send it out to my little growing list. And money kept coming in. And so 2 months I did nothing. Not really. an email a week perhaps. And I think it was in February, we got home and kind of had, settled everything, got mom's apartment, closed up and got rid of the car and kind of did all the stuff that you have to do when somebody passes away. And in February, I kind of had my head back in the game. And I looked and we were making about $500 a day. We had doubled our income, even though I wasn't really doing a lot. But because of the residual aspect of these products and the fact that I had a growing team, all of a sudden I was making about, what is that? How much is that a month? $500 a day, that's 15 grand a month. And I was struck with this immense sense of gratitude for David Wood and David Sharp. Yeah. And then I went to an event, and everything changed. I got a text from David Sharp. He said, "Hey, I'm going to Atlanta to do a quick little mastermind before we have our first event, and I'd like you to come up." Me and Jessica hopped in the car. We dropped everything. We went to Atlanta. Met David Sharp for the first time. And some of you might have been there. I've met a couple of people. One gentleman from Columbus. Yeah, there's my friend. He was from Columbus, Georgia. He was there. There was like 30 or 40 of us in this little room. And it was all hard. It was me and David Sharp and Tracy Walker and maybe 30, 35 other people. And then the Atlanta event. And let me tell you something. The Atlanta event is where everything shifted for me. The same shift that you guys are going to have this weekend, right, or in the process of having. Let me tell you something. I came home from the Atlanta event and my income jumped to over $40,000 a month. Woo! I went to Austin and my income jumped to over $100,000 a month. Yes. Woo! And that's not, hey, listen guys, this was a year to the month that I said no to a toy in the toy store. We made $118,000 in a single month. And I'm standing here looking at Jessica and we are just overwhelmed with the sense of gratitude for what this company does for people's lives when they just make a handful of really, really powerful decisions. And one of those decisions is just to never, ever, ever let resistance win the game. There's a very small handful, there's a very small handful of things to get good at here. And let me say this real quickly and then I'm gonna kind of start wrapping up. Listen, every time I'm around the Empower Network community, I'm aware that there's lots of questions that people have about technical stuff. Things like, I'll be honest with you, I know so little technical stuff, it's hard for me to even come up with questions, but I hear people saying stuff like, hey, when you upload your video, do you shoot it in 1020 something by so-and-so? Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's exactly, like the Charlie Brown, did you ever see the Charlie Brown? And all the grown-ups in the phone, like, wah, 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 wah. What video codec do you use? Wah, 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 wah. It's like, I have no idea what any of that stuff's about. At all. At all. At all. Like, this business really, I think a lot of times we get so bogged down in the minutia of all the little things that we think we have to know in order to get where we want to go. But the best analogy I can offer you is you don't have to know how a watch works to know what time it is. You just don't. You just have to learn how to tell time. And that in this business, the simplest thing I could offer anybody who's serious about going home and crushing it would be just do the things that make money. Don't worry about all the little technical nonsense that people get so distracted by, because that's another form of resistance. Oh, 1024, time of work, should they? It's like, well, let me study that. Screw that. You don't need to know that, right? What you just need is to fire up a video camera and speak from the heart with enthusiasm and get that thing up on the Empower Network video hosting platform and on your blog and on Facebook and on Twitter and on YouTube, and then go out to lunch and start living your life now, right? It's not a 10-hour a day job. You know? So if I was going to give you just a very, very small handful of things, I would say, forewarned is forearmed. Be aware Anybody who's ever tried to lose weight, quit smoking, make money, we've all encountered resistance. That sneaky, insidious little voice that'll tell you that, who are you to play big? Who are you to say you're going to make $20,000 a month? Nobody in your family's ever made $25,000 in a year. That's what my little voice used to say. Resistance would show up to me as, who are you to play big? You want to make how much?
Bling blah.
You want to make how much? Nobody, your dad worked hard all his life as a hog farmer and probably never made more than $35,000 a year. And you want to make $1,000 a day? Are you better than your dad? Music from my childhood. But you get that? Like, who are you to play bigger than your dad? That was part of the resistance I ran into. Deservability. Is it okay for me to make $5,000 in a single day while people work much, much harder?
Absolutely.
Out of a job and don't make $5,000 in a month? Answer yes. It's okay. If anybody here didn't know, we give you permission. Go get rich. We don't mind. Okay? Speaking on behalf of the universe, nobody minds if you go get rich. And the people who do, they're not in your corner anyway. You're not going to ever do anything to please those folks. Go get rich in spite. So be aware of resistance. Don't be surprised by it. When you get surprised by resistance, that's when you start, ooh, what's going on? I ran that ad. Vic told me that solo ads would work. And they do work. But you'll always run some ad that bombs. I run one every week that bombs. By the way, too, I am like no clue sometimes on what my list will respond to. Because I'll sit down and write a damn Pulitzer Prize winning email. I mean, this thing is not even an email, it's literature. We're going to teach this in 12th grade at Miss Williams' class at those in high school. Man, this will be on the front page of the New York Times one day. And I will, man, it's just a wonderful. God, look at that phrase right there. I hope David Sharp reads this one because. And I'll send it out, and of course, just wait for all the sales. And the email will look like a little cockroach behind the refrigerator. It lays there on its back with its little legs. Yeah, so, and I'm like, it's so good. Yes. And then Jessica's like, hey, if we're going to go get some food before we have to pick up the boys at the community theater, we got to roll. So I'm like, well, I've been putting this off all day because I'm lazy. And so I'll hammer out some little 2-paragraph nothing and mail it out and then come back home and it's like, all this engagement, people writing back, people signing up. And I'm like, I do not have a crystal ball here. You know? But resistance is the thing that'll make you pour your heart and soul into an email that doesn't do well, and then all of a sudden, you're like, well, maybe I'm not good enough. I can't write emails like David Sharp. Maybe I need to go study something. And you get out of action and over here into some time-wasting activity. Nothing wrong with studying something, but study while you act, right? So resistance shows up a lot. So be aware of resistance. Don't be shocked by it or surprised by it. It will happen. First time you make a move to your goals, the dragon will jump up, and you got to smack him on the snout, okay? You got to say, thank you for your opinion, step aside, I'm coming through. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing, events like this are real. Let me say this real quick, and I hope everybody gets what I'm about to say. Have you ever heard about people going to events and they're like, oh yeah, you went to that event, you got all hopped up and hyped up, and it's, oh, you want to come home and do all this, but then you come home to the real world. Has anybody ever heard that language? Yeah. Okay. Let me tell you what's actually happening this weekend. No one is hyping you up. I want you to be crystal clear on what I'm about to say. What you feel right now is not something we've put on you. It is what is there after we strip away crap.
Yeah.
This is the real you. This is what's real. The way you feel about your goals right now, that's the authentic, badass, powerful you that you've always been. That's what, this is what's real. Yeah. Whose time is it?
My time.
Whose year is it?
My time.
1, 2, 3. Listen, being at events will change your life. Never miss an event. Never miss an event. Jessica and I had planned a 10-day South Caribbean cruise a little later this year, and I had it on the screen, and I said, you know what I've got to do? She said, what? I said, I've got to call Travis to see if these dates are free. And she said, you got to call Travis to see if the dates are free. I said, that's right. She said, yes, we do. So I got on the phone with Travis. I said, Travis, here's these dates for this cruise. Does Empower Network have anything planned that weekend? He said, we sure do. I said, thank you, Travis. Closed it up and said, we're going on a cruise 2 weeks early. Because I wouldn't miss an event for anything. You couldn't pay me to miss an event. I know what these events have done in my life. I know what it does for me to be around people like David Wood and David Sharp and Aaron Rashkin and Justin and Vic and Tracy Walker and Lawrence Tam. Listen, you can get to where you want to go. The shortcut to where you want to go is so simple. Get around people who are already going there. People who already fought their way through the jungle and slapped the dragon, and they've made it to the castle. They've got the treasure. They've rescued the princess, and they can tell you how to avoid all those pitfalls between where you're standing and where you want to be. And the simplest shortcut to that is to get around them in person. Events. Don't ever mistake what happens at one of these events for being us putting excitement or hype on you. These events are about stripping away the crap that we've applied to our bodies and our lives for years, and suddenly we're revealing who we were always all along. Last thing, and this is personal for me. Our next speaker is we wouldn't be here. Me and Jessica would not be living this life. I'm not the MC. The MC will come out and introduce you. Let me tell you something. David Sharp may be one of the most important people I've ever met. And the reason why I say this, I've never met anybody with such heart. Even people who talk about heart. There's something special about this guy. We've got to be friends. And I know this feels like a little bit of an introduction, but Jay Cron will come out here and do this properly. But I just want to say, David Wood and David Sharp, as a pair, have brought something to this industry and to this planet that simply has not existed in this way before. I'll never forget the first time I met David was when he texted and said, hey, can you pop up to Atlanta and just hang out with us for a week, for the evening? And meeting him, here's the cool thing. David is just exactly in person the way you see him on stage. He's probably one of the most real people I've ever met, even among people who put high value on realness and authenticity. He's just an absolute delight. And David Wood and David Sharp have both been and provided value to Jessica and I, without which we wouldn't be here. And I don't mean just that they started a company and they created this wonderful playground that we all get to play in, but like the ripple effect that comes off these two gentlemen because they chose to play big. Listen, I've seen them make decisions in conference calls and in corporate meetings that nobody in the world will ever know that they had to make, and they made them on behalf of you. They made them in your favor. I've been around this industry long enough to have seen a lot of corporate decisions get made that the field never knows about, and I've seen the decisions made the wrong way just because of company owners who didn't maybe have the ethics they should have had, or maybe had a little bit more taste for the dollar. Let me tell you something. the David Wood and the David Sharp that I get to work with every single week, these guys have got your back. So the only reason I'm going to mention this right now, and I'm out of time, the only reason I want to mention this right now is part of getting to events, part of being around the people who've already fought their way through past the dragon and they've arrived at a goal that you want to achieve. See, they're fighting another dragon on their way to a different castle, but they can help you get to where you want to go. And let me tell you something, I've never seen folks like David Sharp and David Wood that are more accessible and who have a bigger heart for the mission of this community, which is to help every single one of you guys get to where you want to go as fast as you possibly can. We are